My name is Kit.
My name is Madison.
And I'm Steve.
And this is Streaming Things, streaming The Boys.
The Boys.
The Boys.
The Boys. We are at season 4, episode 4, titled Wisdom of the Ages.
So wise.
So wise.
Do you have any wisdom of the ages for our listeners?
No.
Be
Like, no
a
life
good
hacks?
DoorDasher.
Yes, that is a sage wisdom. Thank you.
Sage.
It's connected.
Good plug.
Yeah, if you listened to our episode last week, Kit said that he had never tried a bloomin' onion before. So we're recording these back to back. So what has been a week for you has just been mere moments for us.
Still haven't gotten the bloomin' onion.
Yeah, I ordered the bloomin' onion. The DoorDash guy arrived here and said, "Oh shit, I didn't bring your food." So he left to go get the food again.
And I'm upset. I'm thinking about how, you know how fried food's only good for like the first 20 minutes and it gets soggy instead of crunchy?
Right,
This is
right.
not going to be a good first bloomin' onion for me.
No, it's not.
I can tell you right now.
Yeah, he's ruined it.
I'm going to throw it on the ground.
Throw it in his face.
Not a part of your system.
Happy birthday to the ground. Bloomin'
Hey, my
onion.
dad, it's a cell phone.
Yeah, all that stuff.
So if there might be a pause in this episode where we go and
Not
eat
for them.
the bloomin' onion, not for you, but like there might be a cut where we come back and we seem more content.
We're just licking
more
our
angry.
fingers. Yeah.
Depending. Oh, I forgot the bloom sauce. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
You can't forget the bloom sauce.
Anyway.
First world
be
problems.
a better DoorDasher.
Yeah. I mean, you're doing your best, but at the same time,
Do better.
yeah.
Be better.
Make your best better. That's going to be my slogan. Kit Laser says, make your best better.
Better.
How corporate of me. You can email the show at streamingthingspod@gmail.com at any time. Let us know your thoughts on The Boys, and we will read them, perhaps on the show. We don't know yet. Rate and
Maybe.
review the show wherever you're listening to this. I've been reading lots of 5-star reviews recently. Love you. Thank you. You can also support the show at patreon.com/streamingthings, but not for nothing, not just for goodwill, to get extra content, just to help those slow hours of your life to fill with more streaming things. You can do that at that website, patreon.com/streaming things. We got extra Game of Thrones coverage. We got all kinds of bonus episodes. Probably Jaws is what it's looking like for this month.
Ooh,
The
that'd be fun.
Yeah. Yeah. If you guys like sharks, that's the Jaws theme.
Yep.
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 Show enough.
But what we're going to do on this episode is talk about our overall thoughts about season 4, episode 4 of The Boys, and then do the deep dive and play-by-play, scene-by-scene recap, and then cap it all off with our diabolical moments, our top 3 favorite moments of the episode, and then dive into the Vought Vault if there's anything to pull out there, some kind of Easter eggs or behind-the-scenes content, and then finish it all with our Compound VIP nomination, our favorite performance of the episode. That's what we're going to do. That's the plan. Stick around. But after a word from our sponsor.
Ooh. We doing the sponsor ad here now?
I just wanted to pretend people sponsored us.
Is that the theme from Doug?
It was. I don't know why.
Weird pull. Okay.
Hey, funny.
Skeeter. Patty mayonnaise. Why did I do the theme from Doug?
I don't know.
That means like a...
Hey.
That was an outer body experience.
Yeah, it really was.
Something consumed you. Took over your body.
Yeah, stop consuming me
Stop consuming.
without my consent. But let's dive in. Madison, what are your thoughts overall on Wisdom of the Ages?
So I think my review about episode 3, I feel like this episode is slightly better, but still I would categorize it as just okay. I think a lot of the issues I have with episode 3 are kind of carrying into episode 4. A lot of the plot threads that are happening have been just a little slightly predictable, and they're kind of reimagined versions of something we've already seen. Like Homelander inducing fear in Vought employees. Although it was like gruesome and scary, I just was like, we've seen this before. And I was kind of hoping there was going to be something a little bit more deeper there that we could kind of like chew on and, get a little bit more sense of like, I don't know, what's going to happen. And then I'm still unsure how I feel about the Firecracker Starlight plot thread. Like, it's still just not sitting well with me. Like, I guess I understand because Annie is a politician now that all of the angles to like quote unquote beat her down or like through her image in media, but it just feels like cheap drama in my opinion. And then it's just also interesting to see Annie like so vulnerably disturbed by Firecracker when she's recently like she was like standing up to Homelander, she was standing up to Newman, she was standing up to like all of these much bigger like villainous characters. So it's just been weird to see her kind of like be so disturbed by Firecracker. The MM and Butcher back and forth is starting to get a little old, in my personal opinion. I know I'm saying a lot of bad things about it. I still think the humor part of it, I'm still enjoying like the show. I'm excited to like be on this journey with these characters, but I feel like at this point I would have liked to have been persuaded more towards I would have liked to not be as disappointed as I am, I guess.
I always prefer less disappointment.
Yeah. So I'm still hoping that there's going to be a redeeming element to the show. But as I stand right now, I'm like, again, I'm excited to like still be with these characters and like see this season play out and be a part of the fun, exciting moments. But I still am kind of like, I just don't know if I'm really feeling the love of the character. I don't know. It's weird. So that's how I feel.
What about you, Steve?
I'm actually kind of I'm in the same boat as Madison. I think a lot of the problems we talked about last week does bleed over into this one. The whole thing with Starlight and Firecracker, I think, to Madison's point, like it's just so, the season feels like they're just introducing so many things that just like happened either off screen or just seems to be against what the characters are. Like there's a big plot reveal with Huey and Annie in this episode that just kind of like it would have been a big impactful moment if we had known that had happened. I'm referring to the abortion issue.
Yes.
Like if we had known that they had that choice and they did that, that would have been a huge moment for us. But because we, the audience, are like, wait, what happened? What's going on?
Right.
What is that real? Did that actually happen?
Yeah.
It did.
I thought they were going to do like a Huey didn't know thing.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, it would, and it almost would have been better if Huey didn't know, because at least we, the audience, are in his shoes. But at the same time, and like I guess they're going for we, the audience, are in the rest of the world's shoes at the same time. But I just feel like it doesn't land, and it feels a little cheap, and I don't want to say lazy, but there is a little bit of, again, I don't know if it's laziness, but there's even with Butcher, so many episodes in this has been MM like, no, I'm in charge. Butcher, you suck. You suck. Go away. Go away. Butcher, you're fired. Butcher, you're fired. An episode later, I brought him back. I don't know. We need him for reasons, guys. I don't know. Like, it just seems so like, and it just wasn't satisfying the reason why they brought him back. It felt lazy. Which is a shame, because I do think there's still some like fun to be had. It's still an enjoyable show. I'm still laughing at all the jokes. I do find the idea, and there's even more of a retread in this episode where I like the idea of Huey like, well, I want to save my dad, so I need compound V, right? So going to A Train and be like, hey, can you steal more V for me? And then like, hey man, we're even. He's like, I fucking saved you. What are you talking about? Like, it just seemed like, okay, we've had this exact scene like 6 times at this point over the course of the show where A-Train like helps them out, and then they're like, this fucking guy, oh, he helped us out. This fucking guy, like, it just, there's a lot of retreading, and it's a little frustrating where it's kind of like, can we just go? Can we get to because I know there's like something really great that they're cooking. I just want us to get there.
Yeah.
I just feel like we're just treading water or just making shit up as we go along, and it doesn't feel satisfying in that regard. But what about you, Kit? You said you actually, I know we talked offline, and you were saying how you kind of appreciated this episode, I think, more than Madison and I.
I think the episode is much better than 3. I mean, the whole Homelander confronting people that abused him as a child and being diabolical is nothing new, but it's also like,
it's captivating.
It's the height of the show, right?
Sure.
It is.
He started doing his thing, and I think this was a really effective like horror movie in this. But at the same time, like you're on Homelander's side for a lot of it. Like, look what they did to him. You know what I mean? They stuck him in an oven, and you really see all the shit that was done to him and why he is the way that he is. And it's like a corporation. Which is the most hated thing in America. That's the cause of this. Like, at least for me, I'm on board for all of that. And I do think that they're moving past a lot of the annoying things. Like, I too was exhausted by MM and Butcher combating. but at the same time, in this episode, he's like, no, he's back. I made the call. It's not up to you, right? So it's like, okay, we're done with that. Now we've moved on. He realized he needs Butcher. And I do like how much they've given like Los Alonso to do in this season, which it's typically, not as much. And I like what they're doing with him. We haven't talked about his character a whole lot, but
I wish they would give him even more because he's great.
So I think this was a huge step forward for me. We get Frenchie finally comes out to Colin as far as what's going on there, and there's no resolution there. But we find out who the girl is for Kamiko already.
Oh my gosh! Sorry, that was another thing. The reveal for him. Well, like I'm glad they finally got there, but the whole thing, it's like I only saw the guy's scars on his legs. It's like, how have you not seen that?
You guys
before?
been fucking each other's brains out.
How the fuck is this new to you?
Maybe he bangs with his socks on.
Maybe
super common.
I keep my shoes on
for the traction,
just in case I need to. I like to get at certain angles.
Maybe he's got the little grippies on the bottom.
Yeah,
of the socks.
We have a lot of lukewarm water around. I don't want to sleep.
My feet get really cold. I don't know what to tell you.
Some people do. They've done studies that people, it's easier for them to come to fruition, if you will. If you're
with shoes on,
if you're comfortable. No shoes. Oh God.
I was gonna say,
what kind of serial killer is just wearing boots while they're knocking them, dude? I'm talking about socks.
Okay, socks. Okay, okay.
Specifically.
Are these like the socks you get at trampoline parks that have the little grippies on them?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Put those grippers away.
Anyway, I think there was small steps forward in a lot of this, but also I just liked the whole setup. It's kind of I don't want to say return to form, but it's like it is in many ways like same old The Boys, but like in a good way. Like, here we go. Here's some fucking just sadistic, terrifying Homelander action.
Yeah, to your point, the Homelander scenes are the most gripping in this episode. No pun intended.
Grippers.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, the Firecracker stuff, I think we need to look at it through the lens of what's going on in this country right now, always.
Which I feel like that lens, they're trying to, I don't want to say they're like sacrificing the plot of The Boys to really like lean into that lens of like the reality of our world. But part of me just feels like, okay, I understand that this is a huge element of the show and you're wanting to kind of like create this satirical comedy of like what's happening in the real world, but also like at what cost? And that's kind of the balance. I guess that's kind of a good like vision into what my brain is like, what is the balance here to like make those mesh well together? Because right now I feel like they're combating each other very harshly.
I could see that. Like they've continued their mission at the expense of honoring the characters at times.
Yeah.
Especially with like Huey and Annie.
Yeah.
I think. So yeah, let's dive right into the deep dive. But first, I have to be honest, we paused the show and we went to go try my Kit Laser's first ever Bloomin' Onion, inspired by the Deep and Sage. And mid. That's all I got to say.
I feel like the DoorDasher could have.
For sure. If that sucker would have been fresh,
yeah,
it would have bloomed a lot. It would have been Orlando Bloom.
Yeah.
Instead, it was just like
literally it was like
Bloomberg.
It was
just
like
bleh.
it was like eating flavored wet paper towel.
Yeah.
Because it was like falling apart and soggy and
dingy. Yeah.
It tasted like the Deep's glove version of the Bloomin' Onion.
Yeah. 1 star.
Did you?
One Starlight.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it. That was definitely 1-star service. Any hoozle, it's time for the deep dive into episode 4, Wisdom of the Ages. It starts off with a breach in the lab. Uh-oh. It's Homelander. He said at the end of the last episode he was going to go home, and that's what he did. That's what he did. He's landing.
Hello.
He's Celebrimboring it. Hello.
He brings a Fudgy the Whale, though,
Is that a thing you know about?
Oh, yeah. You don't know about Fudgy the Whale?
Who is Fudgy and why is he a whale?
Okay, so I've never had a Fudgy the Whale.
Oh, it's like a Dairy Queen.
Yeah, it's Carvel.
Oh.
It's sort of like a Dairy Queen. I think it's in like the Northeast America, I think.
Okay.
So I've never actually had it, but they're famous for their like derpy looking ice cream cakes, and Fudgy the Whale is one of them.
Derpy?
Yeah, they're kind of derpy looking. Like there's a bunch of different ones, but Fudgy the Whale is the most popular of them. And yeah, it's just that's an ice cream cake.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So he brings Derpy the Whale, and one of the like lab techs is like, John, and he's like, no, Homelander. I will be referred to as Homelander, not John, right? He's got a home sweet home ice cream cake, is what it says on it. We cut to Butcher taking a shower. He's got like this worm crawling up his back.
Ew.
What's going on with that?
It's like the movie Slither. Remember Slither?
Oh, yeah. How could I forget?
I think something's wrong with me.
What about Splice? You been there?
Oh, I've seen Splice.
But
Oh, baby.
are we supposed to interpret that it is like a physical worm in
Or
there?
that he's imagining it.
Right.
I interpreted that it's physical.
Okay.
Let's get physical.
Physical.
Yeah, because I think, obviously, he's not going to die. That's what I think. I think something's going to happen here. A little plot twist action.
He's going to get a new
Something.
lease on life.
But he falls in the shower. By the way, more accidents happen in the home in the bathroom than anywhere in
It's
the shower.
true.
So
Literally.
I'm like, here we go. Hope he's got a life alert.
This scene made me so
I'll
mad.
fall in and I can't get up, bruv.
Help, I need a life alert. This scene made me so mad. Can you guess why?
What kind of soap was he using?
I
I,
feel-
don't know.
I feel like- I
Did he
feel
not moisturize? He didn't exfoliate.
Let me
wouldn't have
see
fallen
that
at- oh,
dick.
yeah.
When he fell over, he's like, "Oh, I'm dying. Let me gingerly grab the shower curtain and place it over me junk. I don't want me junk to be out."
And they're usually not shy about the dick in this show.
No.
But Carl Urban, he's way too
I'm sure Carl was like,
big of a celebrity.
we'll keep edging him on.
I don't want to be ass out with my twig and berries.
That's true. Not the twig and the berries.
I'm in fucking Lord of the Rings. I don't need
is.
to do this shit.
We don't want to see Aomer's twigs and berries. We do, but we're not gonna.
Right.
Oh, that's why they call him a horse lord.
That's right. Rohan will answer. Yeah, but he falls. And Becca makes him get up. It's like his own little personal hallucinatory cheerleader, you know?
Get the fuck up.
Yeah, stop being a bitch. Get up. Can't die here like this. It's embarrassing. So they cut to the hospital. They want to pull the plug on Huey's dad. They alluded to that in like episode 1 or 2. He's got a DNR. I think it's episode 2. Do not resuscitate. So that's his wishes. And there's nothing Huey can do about it. They're going to pull the feeding tube and just let him slowly pass on.
That's so sad.
He's upset about that.
So sad.
It's very sad. We see some TV commercials in the next transition. And it's the president watching the tube as he does.
There's a commercial for the V52 Expo, which I think is a joke on the D23 Expo, the Disney Expo, and then also we get a murder not a murder mystery, but like this like a true crime TV show, but it's about the Gen V people.
Yeah.
Yeah, Godolkin U.
Yeah.
Well, there's a huge plot thread in Gen V where Tech Knight shows up there for a while. And investigates things going on there. But yeah, Godolkin U gets dropped. So hopefully we'll see those. I think it's confirmed there's a couple of characters from that show coming up soon. Starlight visits the president while he's in there watching the tube and offers to help get his bill passed. Hey, I'll help you out if you scratch my back. See what I'm saying?
I'll make a new Starlight costume and I'll get the Starlighters on board with this legislation. You need my PR resources.
And he's like, okay, I guess so. And then we cut to Colin's cheeks, which... You know, Steve, again, halfway there, buddy.
Frenchie's clapping him.
At least you get some. Yeah, they're post-clap. We call this
They've been clapped.
post-clap clarity on those cheeks.
Yes.
And then this is where Colin tells
cheeks.
Frenchie about his family and what happened. And of course, Frenchie already knows all this. He was there. But then we get that mention of the burns on the ankle, the cigarette burn. We know about the cigarette burns from Frenchie's past, why he is the way he is.
Yeah.
But as Steve pointed out, it's a little silly. It's like, oh, you didn't notice the burns on his ankle when you
Yeah.
were betwixt them?
Yeah, this whole time, and I do not like this plot point. It's silly. Like, if you wanted to have this plot point, maybe don't have them have sex yet. Maybe so that you can have some sort of plausible deniability as to like, oh, he wouldn't have seen him naked and see all his
Yeah.
scarring.
I've got an easy explanation.
What's that?
Colin's bottom.
That's also what I was going to say.
He ain't seen nothing but the pillow, baby.
But it is a little strange that
Thanks
like
for
they bring
co-signing
it you're welcome. That they bring it to our attention now. Like it seems a little like you know, there could have been another way around that, I feel.
A little rushed, maybe.
Yeah.
But it all starts off because Colin likes listening to Ray Charles, which is what his dad used to.
But the
listen
country
to.
album of Ray
Yeah.
Charles, which I didn't know existed.
I didn't either. I was learning things too, and it sounded great. I was like, I'm gonna have
Cue
to
that up.
Spotify that later.
Cue that up after some Charlie XCX. Starlight, ready to gear up, but Firecracker is doing a big event across the street. So she's giving her Starlighters a big rah-rah, but then
I laughed at the way that they block the scene is like really funny because Annie walks into work and she's like, hey guys, I got some great ideas for what we could do for President Singer. And they're like, oh, you don't know? And then it cuts to them
Right out the front door.
outside, like right across the street. There's a whole fucking production star. I was like, what?
She came in the back door.
Yeah.
It's still blocked really funny.
Because she's Starlight. You know, she can't go in the front door. She gets mobbed by fans.
Yeah.
Then we cut to Sage, who's like prepping the anti-Starlight op. And Deep comes up because they just had sex and ate a blooming onion. He's like, what's up, girl? And she's like, I find you repulsive. Right? In no uncertain terms.
I laugh so hard because she's explaining, her, how the way algorithms work to like the Vought team, I guess, or how they're going to make Firecracker's thing better. And Deep's just in the background. He just goes, dope.
That's what I was going to say.
Not going to lie. I do that at meetings all the time.
Oh, for sure. That's my go-to.
No.
Sick.
Firecracker, super racist. She tells Sage, I thought you were a little uppity at first, but I realize now you're one of the good ones.
If that's not a overt dog whistle, I
I
don't know what is.
I don't know if that counts as a dog whistle so much as like a blatant.
Yeah, foghorn.
Yeah.
And then we get Truth Bomb, her like dumbass conspiracy theory, right-wing podcast video show thing. And she starts laying into that. Meanwhile, the boys all show up to the Starlight house with Butcher. And
guess who's back again. Butcher's back.
Diabolical.
He's a cunt.
And MM says, look, guys, get over it. I already made the call, as he has to frequently say 100 times throughout this season. I'm the boss now. Tired of you guys.
Is that
naysaying.
the mother's milk house words?
Yes.
I made the call.
I'm in charge.
I made the call.
And Butcher says, look, I can fix this shit with Firecracker and Starlight in 1 hour if you give me 50K. And MM says, there's no way I'm letting you walk out of here with 50K. You can have it, but I'm going with you.
That's a shame because you're really going to hate what we do.
But also.
I found it interesting that Annie wasn't telling, because they asked her, they were like, why is Firecracker like hate you so much? She's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I know, I hate that. It's like, you're not even, why are you that ashamed of it? You were a dick when you were 12? Oh no, dark past.
Yeah.
I killed somebody's whole family and now I'm fucking them.
Yeah.
How about
For
that?
that friendship.
Yeah.
Why are we making such a big deal out of this? I shut slam people all the time. I did that yesterday.
Sorry, that was my attempt to be cool.
Wee.
I like it. Sorry. So Homelander, he's with his old buddies eating ice cream cake back in the lab. And this is where he plays waste paper basketball with Frank.
Oh, Frank.
And they really take their time and let him choose scenery with this scene. And we get the story. Basically, they used to put Homelander in the fucking oven to see what it would do. And even though it didn't affect him or blister his skin, it was extremely painful. Yeah. And, he was a teenager at the time at the most. So it ends with predictably him putting Frank in the oven.
Yeah, he, like you said, he really makes a meal out of it. And again, like even though Homelander's just a monster, you're kind of like on his side throughout this whole thing because like while he's baking in that oven, he saw Frank like do a bank shot and like, oh yeah, fist pump.
Right.
And so he's just like, I want you to see things from my perspective, get in that oven. And it's, yeah. And I really like at the point, because the whole time Frank's just kind of like he's almost indignant about Homelander being there, because he's kind of like, what are you doing here? Okay, I'll throw the ball. And then when he puts him in the oven, he's like, I'm sorry. And he's like, now? Why? Like, why are you
You're just doing your job.
You're just doing your job. Why are you sorry?
Yeah. Anthony Starr is incredible. All-timer in this role. And we've known this for years, but I think it's finally fully on display in this season in this scene. We cut to Kamiko and Huey, who are waiting to meet someone. And it's A-Train. Uh-oh, she's pissed. And he wants the compound V, rather, for his.
Whoa.
Madison, relax.
A-Train, glad you're here.
Turn that A upside down.
And he wants compound V for his dad. He's going to try to save him with that. He's like, it's the only thing that can save him, And throughout this conversation with A-Train, because A-Train at first is like, I'm not going to fucking do that. And I don't know, you shit. And he was like, you definitely do. Remember when you exploded my girlfriend?
You killed someone I love, so you're going to save someone I love.
That's right. But someone's watching them like through a scope the entire time. So you're like, oh shit, what's going on here? Yeah. And Kamiko says, I think you need to let him die when A-Train leaves. And Huey's like,
speaking of his dad.
Oh, what? Yeah, talking about his dad. And then there's gunshots. Huey trips, twists his ankle and shit like
He
a
immediately
goof.
like trips over some machinery and just breaks his ankle.
Like,
Yeah.
what a goober.
Literally. Come on, man.
So they start getting shot at, have to run in the building, and they find out it's that girl from Shining Light.
They took the test. Turns out she is 100% that bitch.
Mm-hmm.
But
true.
I love how are they in a school? Is that where they end up?
It looks like to me. There's
think so.
rulers and such.
Yeah, I think it's really funny.
Because
the
no
little,
other
like,
place can have rulers.
They get 2 little rulers and they scotch tape it up to make a splint. They make a shield out of a filing cabinet door. Yeah. They get that like I still don't know why these are in schools. Those big like
paper swords.
Like,
those are used in a lot of action movies, and I appreciate it every time.
Yeah,
I'm like those are gnarly.
Because as a kid,
It's
you
just
always
the
looked at
office
those
machete.
like, yeah, that's what I'm doing.
It's an
sure.
office machete.
If there's a rebellion in the school,
yes, if we go straight Warriors
I got a
style.
plan.
Can you dig it? I'm taking this.
oh, 6th graders come out and play.
Calm down, Steve.
He'd set a flashback to all the bullies.
Okay, Firecracker.
She tells him, fight or die, Huey. Stop being a little punk your whole life. And he's like, okay. And she gives him the box cutter, which she should have given him the sword, I would feel like, you know?
Right?
Here, take this tiny thing that you'll probably not be.
I also liked how their communication is through text because Huey doesn't know sign language, and in this moment it's like miming. She's like,
well, even her sign
miming
language is like just particular to her and her brother and
Yes.
Frenchie.
Yeah.
Like it's not even like ASL. It's like her own thing.
Yep. And Huey has like a transformative moment in this. Like, you know, Kamiko's wrecking house. There's a point where, well, we'll get there in a second. We cut to the Deep and Firecracker
Love lift us up where we belong.
doing their duet.
They have 6 hours in front of the Starlight house. They have room for all sorts of musical numbers, wardrobe changes.
Yeah, telethon.
Fucking the Nugent's coming in, and he's gonna have a set, followed by Kid Rock later that evening.
Yeah.
and Kanye West.
And Kanye will probably be there.
Butcher knocks a dude out with the fire extinguisher. That's funny. Ding. And MM.
Ding.
I just like when Butcher's being himself,
extinguished.
you know?
Yeah. What did they do? He went and they needed to get a heroin enema. Is that what they spent the $50K on?
I don't know. Honestly, I was really confused at this part. I put MM hates whatever he saw.
Yeah.
And that's the only note that I have on that. But that's how it's something diabolical. And at this point, he asks Mother's Milk to do something for him. He's like, I need you to take care of Ryan if I die too soon. And
You can go save him.
And Em's like, what the fuck, dude? He's like, I need you to raise him. He's like, raise him? That is a lot to ask, you know?
But
and
you're
then
the best dad I know, MM.
Yeah, you're
He's
the
very
best dad I
sweet.
know. And he's like, that's the nicest thing you've ever said to me, probably. However, Christ, man.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a good scene. Again, Los Alonso doing a lot this season. And finally, Firecracker comes out.
White trash walking.
Talk American. Classic line from Geniuses. And
I love Butcher's line when they confront her. He's like, because they're talking about her friend Splitter. Is his name Splitter? Splinter. And he's like, he's noshing on his holiest to holy.
yeah. And he's just saying British stuff. And she's like, talk American first off.
Right.
Which after watching Attack the Block, I get it. Like if you're ignorant, that would be tough, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Ratings, man.
Oh, I guess the thing they did, I guess they found somebody that knew about her specific past because they have this story where she is basically, she's a pedo.
A statutory rapist.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they have evidence of that. And they're about to tweet it. And unless she calls the whole thing off, right? And she's like, you know what? Fuck it. And then she just goes ahead and tweets it. And again, I throughout this season of The Boys, it's got a lot of problems. But one thing that I love is the acknowledgement that there is no winning with these people.
Yeah.
The cognitive dissonance is so real and so robust that there's nothing you can do. Like their whole thing is, we got to save the children. This is what Starlight's doing. She's a pedo. She's got the kids in her basement. And then the person that's saying all that is confirmed. There's evidence, blah, 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 of the exact thing she's accusing everyone else of. And, but she's saved by Jesus now. And it just doesn't apply all of a sudden, you know?
Right.
And it's like
Different
in our own
rules.
world, lock her up. And then
I never said lock her up.
34 felonies. Hell yeah, who cares? He's a real one, you know, whatever.
Politicians should be exempt from
Exactly.
put in jail.
How would they put him in jail? That's ridiculous. You know, exactly. No, and I don't want to get too deep in those weeds. You guys all get it, but That's the one thing I like about this. Is like they knew, like, rather the twist here is that no one will actually care. That's not actually what they care about.
Right.
So she decides to just press the button herself and tweet it out there, that's a waste of $50K all of a sudden, right? Kind of wild.
Yeah, because they want her to tell them what Sage's grand plan is. Because even in the last episode, MM was even like, even the choices of Firecracker and Sage to the 7, he's like, Sage, I get. Why are they picking her? Like, he just doesn't understand what game she's playing. And then they really want to figure out a little bit because she's a huge mystery to them.
Well, it's like her actual plan isn't that like deep. It's just like.
Did you say deep?
Bloomin' onion. You know what I mean? Like her whole plan is just like make the right argue with the left.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Oh no.
I think they're doing that on their own.
And what's the Stretch Armstrong guy? The like
Ezekiel.
The pastor Ezekiel. Like I love how they cut to him and he's like, Annie January, it's 6 syllables. And Starlight, 6 more. Put them together. 666. It's so obvious.
Do you need
people.
any more proof?
Right.
Come on. And it's like, okay.
My next note is Ezekiel's dumb Jesus math.
Yeah.
But yeah, Firecracker gets on stage, spins the whole story that just got tweeted out about her, gets ahead of it. Everybody's like, praise the Lord.
Hallelujah.
We cut to this, then there's a story about how Starlight blinded a hostage, right? And that's really gets under her skin.
On her first save.
I was still learning my powers.
It was kind of weird that like when she was 13 and made her first save, she saved all these people and accidentally blinded one of the hostages. And, I understand if she's saying that to her crowd, like they would be like, oh man, fuck Starlight. But then they cut to the Starlighters and her team, like, look at Starlight. You did what?
Yeah.
Right.
Accidentally blinded someone when you were 13? How could you?
We thought we were safe here.
Like, I understand, like, it's a horrible thing, but, like, I don't understand why they would be like, oh, gasp, Annie.
They're a little surprised, She's not, obviously, we saw last episode, apparently, this version of the character, not forthcoming with her transgressions.
How often does that come up, though?
Twice so far. But Annie storms out, and Frenchie is told to go toss Firecracker's trailer, right? I don't know why my note is blinky blinky in parentheses.
Because Starlight went into the room and like you could tell she was mad.
She was blinky blinky in her office.
Thank you. You know me so well.
Madison, great
Blinky
pull.
blinky. I knew exactly what you were talking about.
That's amazing.
I'm gonna be in my office making the lights go on and off. What if like she wasn't actually using her power? She's just at like the light switch, like.
That's what I do when I'm upset. This episode of Streaming Things is sponsored by BetterHelp.
BetterHelp.
Steve, there's something I need to get off my chest.
What's that, fella?
It's been weighing on me. You know that I resigned at the day job recently, right? And I've been a little scared. There's a family to worry about. There's health insurance. There's capitalism.
Sounds like a stressful time.
But we all carry around different stressors, big and small. And it feels better when you bring something to the light. We keep them bottled up. It can start to affect us negatively. And therapy is a safe space to get things off your chest and to figure out how to work through whatever's weighing you down. In my case, it's all the stress, the misery, the fear. But I had to come over here and share that with you, and I felt better. That's a real thing that happened.
Yeah.
Unloading all that on you and Erica and feeling better myself.
That sounds like my Friday night.
Sometimes you just need somebody to listen. So if you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists at any time for no additional charge. If you're not vibing, that's completely fine. So get it off your chest with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/streamingthings to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/streamingthings.
It's the month of June, and it's a very special month because our Patreon tiers just got a huge upgrade at patreon.com/streamingthings. And I want to thank the very special patrons who signed up to be super patrons of Streaming Things, keeping the lights on for us day in and day out. So thank you so much to Album Stinkpot, Digimon Digital Monsters with a much longer name, but I'm only saying those 3 words, Dylan Dunkleys, Stanton Valentino, Maddlestat, Susie Callahan, Anthony Corona, Parmesan, Sunshine, Sunshine, Ashley Hazen, Just Liz Calabria, Mike from New Hampshire, Brett X, Emily Scarano, Lil Tickler, Svento7, Jay Scramo, Bloff Pum, AK Ashley Ray, Adam Busby, Wendy O'Laughlin, Big Butthorn, Conrad, Jer Lektanovich, Kaylee Sampson, Rabbit Dog in a Barbie Car, Elpander, Charlie Friday, Alexis Adler, Peaches, Emmy, Haley B, Joe Velez, John Collins, Trisha Bueller, Sun-Loving Mortal, Suzanne Rowe, Jen Robinson, Kalisha Reeves, Paula Garcia, Kevin Strother, Ashley Powers, Stephen V, Casey McCain, and Enza. Thank you all so much for supporting Streaming Things. And with that, let's get back to this episode.
We cut to A-Train in Homelander's apartment, which is where he told Huey the V was. I should have mentioned that. It was too dangerous. The compound V.
Well, no, I was laughing because he finds the jar of pubes.
Oh, yes. And the milk. And he's like, what the fuck?
I really wish I could have heard A-Train's internal monologue during both of this. When he like, are those pubes?
And breast milk?
But I just like how they're on display, like next to the picture of Stormfront with her previous husband, and then the pubes. I forget what the other thing was.
It's all of his holiest of holies.
I guess.
He's noshing on him nightly.
And he finds the compound V, but Ashley shows up. Like, what the fuck are you doing in here? And we think he's caught. And he's like, wait, what the fuck are you doing in here? And then he uses his powers to zip out and zip back. You left a floater in his toilet.
That's so funny.
It's so petty. And so they decide, oh, we got shit on each other. Let's just not mention either of us were here.
In the last episode, when she was being a Dom queen, isn't that what like the one guy said she could do, like jokingly, when she's like, what am I going to do? I Disney's calling. Did he put the idea in her to?
I can't remember. Did he say to shit in his toilet?
I'm pretty sure he said something about a floater in that scene. And out of context, when I saw that scene at first, I didn't quite like get what he was meaning.
She's like, that is all I can do. It's all
like,
the power I have.
She's like,
no, I'd like to think
dude.
that she thought of that herself.
I hope she gave him an upper decker and not just a floater.
Yeah, you got to give an upper decker. That's the real power.
Are you familiar
play.
with the concept?
No.
So it's when you shit in the tank of the toilet and put the lid back on.
Mm-hmm.
That's foul, but also
diabolical.
But all right, upper decker.
Yeah, upper decker.
Okay.
Madison's like taking notes.
I'm gonna start using that in my everyday.
She's like, I've been doing that. I didn't know that it had a name. It's just how I like to sit comfortably. It's like its own built-in squatty potty.
It is, yeah. Kind of, yeah.
So yeah, so they, she left a floater up there. They have an accord to just not mention either was there.
I won't mention you're stealing the profitable superhero drugs, and I won't mention that you're pooping in his toilet.
They don't seem equal,
flushing.
but to Homelander, maybe
true.
they are.
Yeah.
And then we cut back to the lab. There's like this growth chart. As a kid, so he was in this lab for
years,
15 years or something like that. On the pillar, you can see him get taller and taller, and then at a point when he's 16, it just gets scratched out and becomes Homelander. And he apologizes to Marty for Frank. Hey, sorry about that. Putting him in the oven and shit. And then we find out
it's funny that here we have a scientist torturing a child who is gifted with powers, also named Marty.
I just enjoy doing it.
I was always nice to you, Squirt.
Yeah, the whole Squirt thing. So we get the Squirt nickname, and we get the whole bit about how Marty laughed at him for jerking off. And his revenge for that is jerk off in front of all of us right now. So he's like, I'm gonna need you to Louis C.K. us.
Oh God. And
then he says, get hard or I will laser your dick off. Because he's having trouble performing with the audience, right?
Understandably.
Not this. I lost it when Marty was like,
spitting on his hand.
Who does that? Who does the spit lube?
Hey man, he's desperate.
He's trying everything.
He's under a ticking clock. He's trying. I'm sure he stuck a pinky up in there at some point, just trying to do something.
Should have, but of course he's unable to get hard, so he lasers his dick off right through his beehole.
In my notes, I have he kit lasered his dick off.
Oh,
I would never. But at that point,
I love Homelander's like. It's twisted, right? But Anthony Starr is just such a captivating actor. The way he's like laughing at him and like cheering, like he's like Marty, like, oh, it looks like you're shucking a little mushroom. That poor little thing.
And everybody in the background like unable to even look.
Use it or lose it, Marty.
That I did chuckle. But then we get, right as he lasers his dick, Barbara walks in finally, who was the only like head employee who wasn't there. Stop it, John, is what she says. And he
Put him out of his misery.
Notice he does not say Homelander. So she has some like,
Authority.
Yeah, authority over him. Put him out of his misery. He stomps on his head and squishes him. And she says, I want to talk to you in private. And she's like, let's go to my office. He's like, no, let's go in here.
We're going to go into the bad room.
We cut to the actual fight with Kimiko and Huey from earlier that was set up. She gets like grenade launched.
Jesus.
Blown in half.
When she got blown in half, my first thought was like, how are they going to show her coming back together? And they just don't.
I mean, we've seen stuff like that in movies,
Yeah, but it's fun.
I would have liked to have seen
I would have liked to see the science behind it.
They had like a little bit of like showing of her back, like kind of molding
did
together.
they come back together?
It came back together.
That was my question. Like, does it come back together? Or does she just grow a new pair of legs and there's just like a bottom half just left?
Oh, if she had
Oh yeah, because she had the little baby
tiny
hand.
Yeah, it would be funny if she just had two tiny legs.
Yeah.
And she just keeps falling over.
One of them's longer than the other. She's like hopping.
I guess if it's an option, she'll just refuse. Yeah. Oh, fuse together. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
It just
I
sucks
get what you're saying.
It's its own word.
She wanted to say, I don't want to be blown up.
Just
I refuse.
Nay.
No, thank you.
Do not consent to the grenade. So she gets grenade launched, which leaves Huey, ass out by himself. And Huey fucks this dude up, man. He does his best, fights through a couple different rooms, and then ends up slicing just like she taught him, dicing across the neck. He's covered in blood, and he's got this look on his face like, uh-oh.
This better not awaken anything.
I do like to slit throats. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
And we find out when Kimiko wakes up, she fights the girl a little bit, but she's the one that took the girl to Shining Light. She Kimiko'd this other person, and that's her biggest, darkest regret, right? And she leaves her alive, takes Huey out of there. And this is where I realized, like, the theme, everybody's got a dark past. That's what we're doing for, like, literally every character. Interesting. So they just leave it there. But then we get Frenchie is in Firecracker's trailer, tossing it, going through everything. He finds an iPad. There's a moment where he says bonjour, and it really made me laugh for some reason. Because like he pokes his head in and, bonjour.
Bonjour.
It just made me laugh. He finds this bedazzled gun. It's like where she hides her pills. I didn't read what kind of pills it was.
I think it was a purse. Was it not?
Yeah, it was a gun purse.
Yeah.
Bedazzled gun purse.
Yeah.
What were the pills? Anybody know?
I didn't freeze frame it.
I did not.
I don't know.
Antibiotics?
I don't know my medication, so I was like, I don't even.
It was
even
a word
if I
I
knew
did
what
not
this
know
was,
how to pronounce.
We just
Right.
know they were pills, baby.
Pills.
Shout out to our Last of Us coverage. The truth bomb is that Starlight had an abortion. And again, that's what Steve was talking about. We
Truth
had,
bomb.
none of us had any idea about this.
Are those teens safe with that baby killer in there?
Ezekiel happens to find Frenchie in the trailer, and Frenchie's unable to lie his way out of that situation. And he gets Stretch Armstronged through the window of the trailer and shit. And then Starlight's had enough at the mention of the abortion, so she starts whooping Firecracker's ass on
She
live TV.
Beats the
Beat the
shit out of her. Just absolutely pummeling the piss
loved
out of
that.
her.
It's great.
And I love the cutaway to Sage watching this on TV. And she's like, how's that, you uppity cracker? Like,
She likes her getting beat as well
Yeah.
as her plan
Yeah.
coming to fruition.
Yeah.
Butcher comes in to try to save Frenchie while I think, is it MM that went to get Starlight off of?
MM stops her and is like, look, they're all watching.
Yeah.
They're all
And,
gonna laugh at you.
they're all going to laugh at you.
Which
Yeah.
part of me's like, Starlight, you know that you're being recorded. I don't know. It was just kind of like
She snapped.
I guess,
She's
yeah.
blinded by rage.
The light.
rage.
Oh. And
the light.
Butcher gets to like freeze Ezekiel's arm with that fire extinguisher he still had. And then he ends up getting choked out with, I assume, the other arm. Why is my note says tiny worm again? Oh, we see another thing in Butcher's face.
It's like in his forehead. Yeah.
Like, what the fuck does that
I
mean?
like how we're interpreting your notes.
Yeah, I get it. I appreciate that,
This
guys.
is one of my favorite streaming things traditions is Chris not remembering why he wrote
And then
something.
we
And then
fill
we
in
were
the
like,
gaps.
it's this.
Every time. It's a fun game we play.
I love it.
Honestly, the Blinky Blinky by Madison was
Blinky
quite
Blinky.
an impressive feat.
What do you think what happened here? Because
Clearly, he has some
power we don't know
sort of
about.
power from the compound V because he also mentions like, "Hey, off screen, I took more V."
you're really mad about all this off-screen stuff, aren't you?
I am. I hate it. But so clearly, there's some sort of power. But I'm wondering, like, is there like an actual wormy in there, and like,
The worm has powers.
The worm has power, and the worm is busting out. Like maybe it's some sort of like symbiotic parasitic thing that's living in him, and it's like protecting him from dying, maybe, or maybe he just he has latent powers, and he just doesn't really realize it's similar to how Soldier Boy had that exploding power, but he would black out and not really realize he was doing it. Like, is that the same thing that Butcher's going through? It's interesting.
I'm not sure, because to be honest, when Ezekiel blew up, I just was kind of like, oh,
we heard the scream and the squelch.
Yeah, did that come from Butcher? It had to have, but I didn't really think much about it. But that would be cool if it's the wormy worm.
Maybe he was drinking tequila and he ate the worm, which they always say don't do that.
Don't do that.
And this is why. Interesting. But Ezekiel now dead. Homelander and Barbara are in the bad room, and she doesn't talk as like somebody who's concerned for her life, you know? She's like, because nobody fucking likes you, dude. Do you ever think about that? People were terrified of you from your first breath. You laser-eyed your way out of the pregnant woman's belly. You killed 2 doctors and a nurse or some shit like that.
Yeah.
But she's also vouching for the people that he's essentially gearing up to kill, like they were doing their job.
It works too.
Yeah.
And
but she also says like the Vought brought in like a psychologist, and they worked up this whole the deeply rooted need for him to be loved. Like it was like the greatest success of this whole program was the psychological effects they had on him, so that they can control him with his desire to be loved.
I didn't love that, because that's the whole thing about his character that I thought was cool, is like, obviously that's his kryptonite, is that he wants love and affection. He's never had any because he was raised in a lab. And it's like, that would just naturally happen. You don't have to say that some Freud guy came in and like manufactured this need in him. All humans need that. And if you're starved of that as a child, you will need it. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, that makes sense.
It just seems silly to me. It just seemed like a hat on a hat.
I also, I guess, how this was built up in my brain, I was anticipating Barbara's character to be more of like a mother figure, and like kind of similar to how he was with Stillwell, like kind of like obviously drinking her breast milk.
Oh, that was a mommy figure.
Yeah, but like I guess I don't know if I just walked into it with like different expectations, but I was like, oh, like I was anticipating this interaction between this woman to be different, and it just doesn't. I don't know. It doesn't like pan out the way that I was.
And we've already kind of seen this before. Like in season 1, we saw him confront this like off-screen baddie corporate guy who had some kind of fatherly relationship with him. Yeah. And then also a little bit with Stan Edgar. And obviously Stillwell. And now they're all dead or gone. And now they're like, also Barbara, who you've never heard about, is super important to him. So, to your point, like they continue to do this kind of thing. But
it almost seems like Barbara isn't. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of like this whole. But they made such a big thing about it at the end. Made such a big stink about it at the end of episode 3, and now here we are. We're in this moment, and it just kind of seems like, oh, like he actually doesn't like these people don't matter to him in that way, like at all.
We're coming to get you, Barbara.
Yeah.
And then they're in the bad room. They're talking bad stuff. She says, yeah, we psychologically instilled this in you. And also, I think the important thing is you could have left at any time, but you didn't, because you were afraid we'd be disappointed in you. And that's why you endured all of this, right? That's a huge part of his character. Then we cut to Colin talking to Frenchie, and Frenchie just blows up, like, stop being so fucking nice to me, because he's like fixing the wounds that he received from Ezekiel. And then at this point, he's like, it was me. And again, this doesn't land at all, but I'm like glad it's over, because it's just kind of silly if you think, I'm sorry to be so negative.
Around it is...
Look, it was me. I killed your whole family. What? That's fucking not cool, dude. Like, that's crazy. Like if Madison and I are hanging out and she's like, oh, by the way, I killed your mom. You know what I mean? I don't know how I would react, but it definitely wouldn't be like, not cool. You're off the pod.
How dare you?
You know what I mean?
You are cut off.
Like, that's a crazy thing to say.
You disgust me.
But that's basically what happens. He does beat him for a bit, and Frenchie does not fight back. He says, kill me.
Yeah, Frenchie doesn't even like lift a hand up to him. He's just like, please do it.
End it. But you know what I mean? Like, there's a part of me that would be like, what? No, you didn't. How? Since when do you kill moms?
Tell me how. Were you there?
know what I
Name me
mean?
another time.
He just so quickly is like, it was you?
How old are you?
Yeah, well.
Fair.
And then we cut to the Deep and Sage. And remember, we saw that like bloody metal stick in the last episode,
You want
like a
some
needle thing.
Fried pickles with ranch from Flavortown.
Yeah, she wants to get some Guy Fieri shit.
She wants to go to Flavortown. Population us.
I ate at my first Flavortown restaurant in the airport, which is probably not a great example of what it is. Not very good. I did
Kinda
not feel
like-
like I went to Flavortown.
Kind of like your first example of a bloomin' onion.
Very close to that.
Wow, we
So we're
really
gonna
need to stop
stop-
taking snack notes from Sage and the Deep.
Yeah, seriously.
Well, I accidentally ate this in the airport. It wasn't like from this.
How do you
but
accidentally eat? Are you like, oops, I'm in Flavortown?
it sounds funny there, but how many
the
options
Guy
are there in an
Fieri ghost
airport?
was like, come hither, here.
It's the only place in the airport I could find that had French toast. God damn it.
That is a journey.
Interesting.
It is a journey.
When we flew out to South by, like I went looking hard for some decent breakfast.
Did you find any?
No, remember I walked like the whole goddamn airport, didn't find anything good.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, well, because I
Blackout.
left you.
You said, where's some good breakfast?
Yeah, I wanted some brekkie.
The eggs were the only thing edible, you know? The French toast were these giant, like, triangles of joy is what it looked like. But no, it was actually anguish.
Malice.
Disappointment. Yeah, malice. Sauron's French toast.
Blah, 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 blah.
So she basically, long story short, she wants him to give her a frontal lobotomy.
Oh, I hate this.
And that's what I love this.
I could not watch this scene.
It was very hard for me to watch this.
I have a eye thing, as you know. Like if
You
people
ever had somebody lick your eye?
No,
Have you?
That's
Yeah.
a new fear.
It's a thing we used to do in high school for some reason.
Ew.
I
Why?
think that's
To
weird.
what end?
But I don't think you know Jordan, but yeah, he was like, "Let me lick your eye,"
I don't want to know him now.
because it feels crazy, and I need you to experience it. And me being the kind of person I am, I was like, "For real? How's it feel? Let's do it."
But like, you can't lick it. You just like put your tongue to it, right? Just
Right? It's not like it's just like a poke,
Like a
a little bit of a flicker.
little bit of up and down.
Yeah,
Did you do a little,
a little bit.
A little bit.
little bit of the bubbly?
Any hoozle. Yeah, she's
was
got to stick
so
the thing
bizarre.
right through her eye, but don't blind her because that doesn't heal. Basically, her brain heals, but nothing else does.
Did she say her brain is constantly growing, so that's why she has to keep?
No.
Or is it just-
She
is it
does
just
say
a heal
that
factor?
It will grow. It's just a heal factor.
Okay.
The way I read this was brilliant, I thought. Like, she's the smartest person in the world. And they just laid this at the end of season 3, like, smartest person in the world, sitting there eating a bloomin' onion, horny for the dumbass that is the Deep, watching reality TV. And now we saw the bloody thing. And now we find out, like, to relax because she's so smart that she's fucking stressed out all the time, right?
Yeah.
And everybody around her is insufferable.
Yeah.
That she fucking lobotomizes herself just to be able to watch some reality
Fucking
TV,
TV.
smoke a joint, and flick the bean and have a good night. You know, that's like her thing. And that's why she was so different to the Deep. And to me, it was like a plot twist because I was like, oh, she's seducing him because she's the smartest person in the world. There's a reason for this. No, she actually wanted to fuck him because she was in dumb mode.
Right.
And that's a huge twist to me. I was like, wow, I love this.
It is an interesting twist on that character that like she has to relax, and that's the extreme method she has to go to be able to relax. 'Cause, I mean, really, if you really think about it, like being the smartest person in the world, like it would be hard to kind of enjoy things like that.
Yeah.
And just hang out, and the Deep is just like the paragon of what is opposite of her.
Right.
Yeah. And it's one of my favorite things probably in the world because he's like, ooh, I'm not doing that. And she's like, I'll let you ass fuck me while you watch the Kim and Ray J video.
And so you want me to put it here?
Oh, yeah.
Just immediately on a dime.
That was one of the funniest things I've ever heard.
Also, I was laughing because they do it, he does the hammer. It's fucking disgusting. It's wild. And they finish it, and she's like, I have another flavor town for you to go to. And they start making out. But as they start making out, the scene ends with the song going, face down, ass. That just made me think of Action USA.
Yeah, for
No,
sure.
because she's like, I got another flavor town for you. My
pussy.
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 Because if you're dumb, you call out your joke like I do.
Yeah.
Good stuff. So then, because I'm dumb,
Thank you. Thank you.
layers, baby. So then VP Newman is talking shit about Starlight. There's a lot. It's quick cutting here, but Kimiko throws her speech therapy books away. She's given up on that, right? So she's fully backsliding now. But she does hug Annie, who's been recently exposed as somebody who had an abortion, and that's everybody's business for some reason, right? Huey tries to help. It's kind of interesting how they write this scene to be like, no, even you like trying to help is fucking annoying. Like this is so not your business, you know?
Right.
And everybody's supportive, but then the president calls and he's like, oh, super helpful with that bill there. You know what I mean? Now it's fucked completely. So
Might as well call it the Starlight baby killer bill.
don't ever talk to me again.
Yeah.
Right.
And which is like disappointing to her.
Awful. Like I feel so bad for her in that moment.
Yeah.
A-Train gives Huey the compound V. Huey shakes his hand. He's like, I was going to trick you and tell you to fuck off, but actually, yes, you're good.
We're good. We're homies.
A-Train's like, cool.
Want to go play N64?
But Butcher was watching him, calls him a dog wanker.
How fucking could you?
And then this is where we get the, I took some V off camera and it didn't work. It's just important to the plot.
This season we decided to be all about tell and not show.
Diabolical.
Fucking diabolical.
So then we cut to Huey crying at the hospital. He decides not to give him the compound V, goes out to get some hospital coffee. The worst, comes back. She gave him some compound V? What the fuck's going on?
Oh, what?
What kind of power do you think Simon Pegg's going to have? And B, what's going on?
I think, okay, hear me out.
Okay.
I think whatever power Simon Pegg, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I think it's gonna like heal Butcher. I think that's gonna be the crossover.
Wait, so
there.
Hugh Campbell, Simon Pegg, is going to heal Butcher?
I think so.
Interesting. Like he has like the power of...
I don't know, but that means we're going to get more Simon Pegg than we've ever gotten in this show. If he gets a power, that'll be amazing.
I just hope his power is he just can, at will, just vomit pizza rolls like at the speed of bullets at people. So he's like... And that's how he takes people out. He loves pizza rolls.
And everyone's mouth's just like open. Like,
And they're the one, and they're like too hot.
Oh,
like,
no.
And everybody's like, And so he's basically like a diversion.
That would be the worst hell for him. Like, I'm sorry. I was trying to give you pizza rolls.
but can he like eat them? Like, can he just like close his mouth and just like
Yeah,
catch
he's like a
Oh.
dragon. They don't affect him.
I see. I see.
Don't affect it.
He doesn't have to inward breathe or anything.
I love that.
He
I
just
love that
doesn't-
for him.
His stomach is an internal oven. I love it.
Easy bake. And then the last scene we get, or last shot we get, is Homelander going back up the elevator from the lab. And the bad room is covered in body parts and blood. He's covered in blood. He killed everybody except Barbara.
And I assume locked her in there. So she can't escape. So she'll probably die in there because no one else is in there.
Oh, I didn't even think
Maybe.
about that. I was thinking more like you just have to live with this because it sucks to be you now.
Maybe that too.
She could probably just like when the next shift clocks in. I assume everyone who works there wasn't there.
Well, I assume it's like that is where Homelander was like studied as far as like his upbringing. So I can assume that
It probably is a super top secret place. I didn't think about that.
yeah. So I can imagine that they would have other things that they're studying.
Yeah, what have they been doing for like the last 20
Literally.
years?
Yeah, what have that specific team of people been doing down there in that room?
Playing waste paper basketball.
Yeah.
Yeah, Frank's just like, I fucking hate this job.
Right.
They put pizza rolls in that
When are
oven.
they getting us another kid to torture?
Literally. Yeah.
Period.
In time, my
So
friend.
I'm sure
in
we'll find
time.
out.
But that's the end of episode 4, Wisdom of the Ages. I'm not sure what the wisdom was of the ages, but now it's time for our diabolical moments.
Fucking diabolical.
Our top 3 favorite moments of the episode. Madison, number 3.
My number 3 was Kimiko giving Annie a hug at the end.
Yes. I didn't mean it in a creepy way.
I don't know, because the whole abortion plot is it's tough to see like that come to fruition, even though the delivery of it is a little questionable. But I just loved the woman to woman understanding of that situation and that scenario. And they even call attention to the fact that Huey isn't helping, but it's just like a hug from another woman of like, I understand what you're going through. Like nothing needed to be said. It's just, I really liked that.
Steve, you're number 3.
My number 3 is what I have listed in my notes as Frank's Red Hot. It's just the scene of Homelander kind of giving Frank the business, sort of like, let's play a game. Oh, I learned this game from you. What do you mean? Oh, it's because while you were torturing me in the oven, I would watch you play this game and you just didn't care about my well-being at all. Which is like a really diabolical scene, but there was like really great tension to it. Anthony Starr was really, really great in that scene. And just like the way he turned it around on that guy when the guy finally like realizes that he's in danger. He's like, oh man, I'm sorry. And he's like, why? Like you haven't been sorry this whole time, but now you are? Weird. It was just a pretty tense scene and I quite enjoyed it.
My number 3 is the fight with Huey, with his box cutter, you know, pretty crazy development with that character. I felt like, you know, didn't see that coming and quite enjoyed that. Love a good action set piece, especially, you know, hand to hand.
A rough and tumble.
Yeah. Love that.
Slice here, slice there.
Maybe a dice.
You guys want to go get a slice?
Slice of some wrists.
Ooh. Madison.
That was very dark.
You're number 2.
My number 2 is Annie kicking the shit out of Firecracker. I don't know. I do enjoy Starlight as a character, and I really like Erin Moriarty as an actress and her playing Annie. And I like any action related scene with her in it. And Firecracker is such an annoying character on purpose, but getting to see Starlight beat the shit out of her is equally as satisfactory as I'm sure it was for Sister Sage. So yeah, that's my number 2.
My number 2 is also Annie beating the shit out of Firecracker. It's just good catharsis because Valerie Curry, I think that's her name, Valerie Curry, who plays Firecracker. She's been great in this role. Like she walks this line of being overtly annoying, funny when she needs to be, and just a little bit, just enough like, what do you call it? Just enough where you can kind of see where she's coming from and why she is the way she is. I mean, even that part when she's like, I'll do anything for you. Anything.
But I won't do that.
Anything. Like she just kept saying it. Like that was really funny. Like she's a very funny person. So like, but finally, like you get a whole ass like episode kind of building up of her like shitting on Starlight and going like saying really inappropriate things. And then finally, when you have this big abortion reveal and Annie goes and kicks her ass, you're just kind of like, yeah, fuck her, get her, girl. Yeah. So it's just kind
rightfully deserved.
Yeah, it's just a fun, like, sort of a cathartic moment. So that's my number 2. Kit, number 1.
No, my number 2
or 2, sorry,
is the oven. Frank is the better of the 2 of the 3 like Homelander snapping scenes in this episode. But I'm gonna have to go with Marty's laser dick, just because of the shock value, the camera angle, the hole from the back once he was lasered it through, the setup, not that hole from the back. Everything was just chef's kiss. Probably not a good euphemism to use at this point. But I like that scene. That's my number 2. Madison, your favorite scene of episode 4?
My favorite scene was it was a very quick moment, but it was Butcher telling MM that he is the best dad he knows. And it was very sweet. And I like M&M's.
Oh,
I like,
big fan too.
I love the peanut ones.
I like MM's response where he's like, that's the nicest thing you ever said to me, but not right now. And I think it just goes to show like those 2 characters have gone through a lot together, just like in their friendship and as partners and, you know, fighting the Supes. But at the end of the day, Butcher trusts him to fulfill his overall goal with Ryan. So that's why it's my favorite moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Steve, your number 1.
My number 1 is the Deep and Sage going to Flavortown.
Nice.
I just really love the pairing of these 2. I think the idea of how Sage relaxes is like super interesting and unique. And it's also really funny. Like, so there's good character work happening. There's interesting, you know, it's an interesting hypothesis of like what would happen to how would the smartest person in the world relax? But also you get some like some really fun jokes in there. Like the whole like, I'll let you ass fuck me, and while we watch the Kim and Ray J video. Oh, so where do you want it? Right here, there. It's just a good pairing, and that's why it's my number one moment.
My number one is the same moment.
Flavortown?
Nice.
Are we going?
Yeah, we're going, baby. The lobotomy, the Kim and Ray J reference, like this just crazy specific and hilarious. Like I said earlier, I talked about it earlier for a long time, but I just did not see that coming as the reason she was chilling, eating a blooming onion. So there we go. That's my number one as well. Hilarious. Now it's time to enter the Vought Vault. But I'm telling you, for me, it's empty.
The only pull I had was the nod to the Gen V.
Yeah.
That was the
Godolphin
only
you.
thing I got.
Yep. I had that, and I also wrote Fudgy the Whale, but we already talked about that.
Nice.
Get Fudgy the Whale out of the vault.
I want everyone who has a Carvel nearby, order yourself a Fudgy the Vault or Fudgy the Whale this weekend and
Fudgy
enjoy.
the Whale.
Enjoy.
Fudgy the Vault.
I'm Fudgy.
I'm a vault.
I'm a vault.
Hide your money in me.
Yeah, there's nothing in me yet. You got to put stuff in me first.
Now that means it's time to nominate our compound VIPs. Madison, who are you going to give it to?
I feel like this one was tough. I feel like you could go Anthony Starr, you could go Carl Urban, you could go Aaron Moriarty, Valerie Curry. I feel like there are a lot of good performances. But I think I'm going to give it to Aaron Moriarty, who plays Annie. I think she had a lot of emotional scenes to put on camera, and I think she did a really good job at just being very upset. So I think she deserves it.
Blinky, blinky.
Blinky, blinky. Exactly.
Blinky, blinky. There you go.
Makes sense why I would write that.
Yeah, this episode is a tough one, like, because I think an argument could be made for giving to any of the people you listed, Frenchie, like anybody really. Gosh, I'm just gonna give it to Susan Hayward, who plays Sage.
Nice.
I'm really enjoying their performance and the fun that they're having with the role, and I just wanted to give it to her because
give it to her.
Flavortown needs an award. And she's the resident mayor there, she deserves it.
I was very tempted to give the award to Susan Hayward as well, but I absolutely have to give it to Anthony Starr for this one.
Oh yeah, that's a really great one. Actually, he crushes it this episode.
Yeah, I mean, it's doing the thing that he does, right? So it's nothing like, oh, what? But at the same time, it's like he's so fucking good at that specifically.
I mean, the unhinged giggling when he's putting Marty through that thing is just, that's wild.
And just the tension that throughout this entire show. But I mean, like, he's a character who is capable physically and emotionally of anything. And it's a show known for pushing the envelope. So whenever he's on screen and everyone's scared around him, you're just like, you just don't know what he's going to do. And it's like, it's an interesting and addictive feeling watching TV.
Yeah.
But yeah, that happened again. And I got to give it to Anthony Starr for that one. So that's it. That's the Compound VIPs. Tune in next Friday for our coverage of The Boys episode 5, bright and early, right after you watch it. And stick around midweek and early week for our House of the Dragon and Game of Thrones coverage. GOT only on the Patreon, of course. Thank you guys for supporting us, for listening, for tuning in. Hope you're enjoying the show. That's all the time we have for right now. My name is Kit.
My name's Madison.
And I'm Steve.
And this was Streaming Things, streaming The Boys.
Happy streaming.